A huge percentage of the health content online right now is misleading, it's wrong, some of it is outright misinformation, some of it gravely so.
Timothy, let me start with you. What is the real world harm here when it comes to AI-generated doctors?
Oh, it's significant. Look, we know health misinformation broadly is doing incredible harm, but these AI influencers, AI doctors, AI deepfakes in particular, they look incredibly real. They're playing on authenticity, right? And they are also providing information that is incredibly often convincing. And studies have told us that individuals can't tell the difference between the real and the fake. I think that's really important to highlight. In addition to that, a very recent study found that if you have misinformation tethered to an image or a video, individuals are more likely to believe the misinformation. So we know these AI deepfakes, these AI influencers in the health space doing real harm.
Dr. Burnell, the CMA did a survey on false health information across Canada. How bad is it out there?
So it's very bad. That information is increasing, and the survey respondents reported that if they followed the information that they obtained from AI for treatment or diagnosis, that they have 5 times the risk of harm. So that really signals to us the significance of the problem.
Doctor, what kind of harm are we talking about?
So the most common harms are really delay in seeking appropriate medical attention from healthcare professionals with respect to obtaining the correct diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up, and that information is put in context with your individual medical history.
It's so scary to think, people would actually delay treatment or take the wrong treatment. Timothy, is this a public health crisis?
It is a public health crisis. This doesn't sound like hyperbole, but I don't think it is. I think that the spread of health misinformation and misinformation more broadly, one of the gravest challenges of our time. I think it's important to recognize the scope of the problem. A huge percentage of the health content online right now is misleading, it's wrong, some of it is outright misinformation, some of it gravely so, right? So the scope of the problem is significant.
Doctor, how do we fight back against this?
There are several strategies. We are trying to meet those individuals on social media with a social media platform, Healthcare for Real. So putting out that information where they're likely to be looking. We also have partnered with Canadian Press with respect to having journalists report complex medical situations in a language that resonates with the public. But this really has to be combated every day in the physician office, with the patient, with their loved ones, in engaging them on these topics of what have they brought, what have they learned off of the internet, and how can we put that into context for them.
Yeah, it's part of an ongoing conversation, but not everybody has a family doctor, and that's part of the challenge. Timothy, it feels like it's a game of whack-a-mole. 10 videos get taken down, they're flagged, another one pops up, another account pops up with the same AI-generated doctor. I mean, how are people getting away with this, and is there any recourse?
Yeah, look, this is one of those situations, a complex situation. I couldn't agree more with the doctor, right? It's going to require a multi-pronged approach, right? So we have to pre-bunk, we have to debunk, and as you highlighted, it does feel like almost futile, right? Because there's so much misinformation out there. But the good news is we know that if you use all of these strategies, you really can make a difference. I would like to see regulators do more, so go after actors who are offering unproven, especially if they're triggering a regulatory response, like actually offering health advice. Let's go after these actors. I also would like to see more warnings, and I would like to see more health organizations, scientific organizations, talk about what the scientific consensus actually says on a topic in a way that is shareable for the media, for the public, for patients, for healthcare providers. We do all of those things, and it is going to be a daily battle. We do all of those things, we can make a difference.
Should impersonating a doctor with AI be a criminal offense?
I definitely think it should be an offense. I think it should be, at a minimum, a regulatory offense, but perhaps we should look at some kind of criminal offense for those, especially if they're imitating a doctor that exists and offering health advice. At a minimum, there should be some kind of regulatory response for that.
Dr. Burnell, I wonder about building back trust, because so much of this has to do with trust. When you talk about those conversations of going back to your doctor, going back to a medical professional, you know, how do those people build back trust with a public that's not trusting?
So that takes time and effort. What was reassuring about our survey was that 85% of those surveyed wanted to go back to their family doctor or their healthcare provider to be able to navigate this system. So one-on-one, they still very much trust their healthcare professional in dealing with this information. But it takes time and it takes energy, because you need to build the trust. That patient needs to feel that they're heard about the information they've brought to you, that you're listening. And then on that trusting relationship, you can start to bring the scientific evidence to the picture so that they can reflect on it and decide what their healthcare journey is going to look like.
So you would encourage people, literally bring the video and show a medical professional. Ask them.
Yes, I would much rather know what they are looking at, what they are thinking, what information they have, as opposed to guessing or assuming.
Timothy, I've got 30 seconds. What will the medical landscape look like if this continues?
Oh, I think it's just going to get more and more confusing. We're seeing what's happening in the United States right now. It's a chaotic information environment. We're going to see more distrust, more confusion amongst the public. We need to speak up and push back against this noise. And the good news is you're seeing institutions like the Canadian Medical Association all over the world do exactly that. So I'm hopeful we can make a difference.